Islamic philosophy, a journey through thought and tradition. Islamic philosophy, rooted in the teachings of the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, has contributed significantly to the development of global intellectual traditions. It has been a profound fusion of Islamic religious principles with the Greek philosophical legacy, particularly during the Golden Age of Islam. By engaging with pre-Islamic philosophy and integrating their own interpretations, Islamic philosophers sought to harmonize reason with faith, establishing a rich tradition of intellectual discourse that has influenced both the Islamic world and the West. The origins of Islamic philosophy. The origins of Islamic philosophy are deeply intertwined with the early expansion of the Muslim Empire. As Islam spread beyond the Arabian Peninsula in the 7th and 8th centuries, it encountered various intellectual traditions, including Greek, Persian, and Indian philosophies. The translation movement, which flourished in the Abbasid capital of Baghdad, played a pivotal role in the transmission of Greek philosophical works into Arabic, particularly the writings of Plato and Aristotle. The House of Wisdom, Beit al-Hikmah, established in the 9th century, became a center for the translation and study of these texts. Through the works of scholars such as Al-Kindi, AlFarabi, and Avicenna, Ibn Sina, the Islamic world not only preserved the works of the ancient philosophers, but also expanded upon them, introducing new ideas and concepts that were consistent with Islamic theology. Key figures and schools of thought. Islamic philosophy is characterized by the diversity of its thinkers and the schools of thought they developed. One of the earliest and most influential philosophers was Al-Kindi c. 801 to 873, known as the philosopher of the Arabs. Al-Kindi was instrumental in integrating Greek philosophical concepts into Islamic thought, particularly the works of Aristotle and Neoplatonism. He believed that philosophy and revelation could coexist, and his works explored a wide range of topics, from metaphysics to ethics. Following Al-Kindi, AlFarabi c. 872 to 950 built upon his predecessor's work and is often credited with establishing the first major Islamic philosophical system. Known as the second teacher, after Aristotle, Al-Farabi's most notable contribution was his political philosophy. He believed that the ideal society is one governed by a philosopher king, a concept that reflected both Platonic ideas and Islamic teachings. For Al-Farabi, the highest form of happiness was intellectual fulfillment, which could be achieved through the pursuit of knowledge. Perhaps the most famous of all Islamic philosophers was Avicenna, Ibn Sina, c. 980 to 1037, whose work had a profound influence on both Islamic and Western philosophy. Avicenna's The Book of Healing and The Canon of Medicine are masterpieces that integrated Aristotelian philosophy with Islamic theology. Avicenna's metaphysics revolved around the distinction between essence and existence, and he formulated the idea of the necessary existent, a being whose essence is its existence, which he identified as God. This concept was later influential in the medieval scholastic tradition in Europe. Another key figure was Al-Ghazali c. 1058 to 1111, who marked a turning point in Islamic philosophy. Initially trained in philosophy and theology, Al-Ghazali later turned against certain aspects of Greek-influenced Islamic philosophy, particularly the work of Avicenna. In his famous work, The Incoherence of the Philosophers, Al-Ghazali critiqued the philosophical approach to understanding God, arguing that many of the claims made by philosophers contradicted Islamic teachings. He emphasized the limits of reason and advocated for a return to mysticism, Sufism, which he saw as a more direct path to understanding divine truth. The rise of mysticism and philosophy's transformation. Al-Ghazali's critique of the philosophers had a profound impact on the development of Islamic thought. His work led to the marginalization of philosophy in favor of theology, kalam, and mysticism. However, it did not mark the end of philosophical inquiry in the Islamic world. Instead, it transformed the way in which philosophy was approached, leading to a synthesis between mysticism, theology, and philosophy. Ibn Rushd, Averroes, 1126 to 1198, a philosopher from Islamic Spain, represents a counterpoint to Al-Ghazali's critique. In his work, The Incoherence of the Incoherence, Ibn Rushd defended the use of reason and philosophical inquiry, arguing that there was no contradiction between philosophy and Islam. Averroes believed that truth could be reached through both revelation and reason, and that the study of philosophy was a means of deepening one's understanding of divine truth. His commentaries on Aristotle had a significant influence on European scholasticism, particularly on thinkers like Thomas Aquinas. Sufism, the Islamic mystical tradition, also became an essential element of Islamic philosophy, particularly in the works of thinkers like Ibn Arabi, 1165 to 1240, and Rumi, 1207 to 1273. Sufism emphasized personal experience and the inner dimensions of faith. For Sufis, the ultimate goal was to achieve union with the divine, which was seen as the highest form of knowledge. This spiritual philosophy offered an alternative to the rationalism of earlier Islamic philosophers and became a dominant force in Islamic intellectual life, blending metaphysical speculation with experiential mysticism. The influence of Islamic philosophy on the West. Islamic philosophy's influence on the West cannot be understated. During the medieval period, the works of Avicenna, AlFarabi, and Averroes were translated into Latin, playing a critical role in the revival of Aristotelian thought in Europe. These translations helped to spark the scholastic movement, which sought to reconcile faith and reason in Christian theology. Averroes, in particular, became a central figure in the transmission of Aristotle's works to the Latin West. His commentaries were studied in the major European universities, and his ideas about the compatibility of faith and reason left a lasting legacy in Western philosophy. In fact, the Averroist school of thought, which emerged in the 13th century, promoted the idea that philosophical truths and religious truths could exist in parallel, even if they appeared to contradict one another. Conclusion: Islamic philosophy represents a rich and diverse tradition of intellectual inquiry that spans centuries and cultures. From its early engagement with Greek philosophy to its contributions to mysticism and theology, Islamic philosophy has been an essential component of both Islamic and Western thought. The works of thinkers like Al-Kindi, Avicenna, Al-Ghazali, and Ibn Rushd continue to be studied and appreciated for their depth and insight. Today, Islamic philosophy serves as a reminder of the intellectual openness and dynamism that characterized the golden age of Islam, and it remains a vital part of the global philosophical heritage. If you're enjoying our content and want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support helps us grow and reach more people. Also, if you'd like to help us produce even more frequent and high-quality content, consider contributing to us on Patreon. Every little bit helps, and it means the world to us. So, share with your friends, and let's keep this journey going together. Thanks for all your support.